Hey second graders, welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're going to start an author study, and you may be asking yourself, what's an author study? Well, an author study is when we read a lot of books by the same author. Our author study in second grade is going to be Peter Brown. I was first introduced to Peter Brown when I did the Global Read Aloud, and the book was The Wild Robot. We're going to get to that. We are going to read The Wild Robot. But first, I wanted to introduce you to some of his picture books. He started out writing picture books, and then he ventured into chapter books. So The Wild Robot was his very first chapter book, and it was so great, and it became so popular that right after that, he decided to write The Wild Robot Escapes. Both really cool books that I think you'll enjoy. Today's book that I'm going to read to you is My Teacher is a Monster. And I can relate to this book, and you'll see why in a minute. My teacher is a monster. No, I'm not. Bobby had a big problem at school, and her name was Mrs. Kirby. Robert! What is he doing? Something Miss Mastrogiovanni can't stand. He's throwing paper airplanes. Move it or lose it, Miss Kirby stomped. Settle down, Miss Kirby roared. No recess for children who throw paper airplanes in class. Miss Kirby was a monster. Bobby spent his free time in the park trying to forget his teacher problems. But one Saturday morning, on his way to his favorite spot, Bobby found a terrible surprise. Bobby wanted to run. He wanted to hide, but he knew that that would only make things worse. Look at Bobby. What's he doing? Robert, you don't need to raise your hand out here. What were you going to say? I was going to say hello, Mrs. Kirby. Hello, Robert. I like your enormous hat, Miss Kirby. Thank you, Robert. Miss Kirby, it's really strange seeing you outside of school. I agree. There was an awkward silence, and then a gust of wind changed everything. That's my favorite hat. My dear old granny gave it to me. Don't let it get away. Got it. Oh, Bobby, you're my hero. I mean, that was very good of you, Robert. You're welcome, Miss Kirby. Those ducks sure like you. Quack, quack. They know I really enjoy quacking at them. Quack, 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 quack. Quack, quack, quack. Quack, quack. When they were all quacked out, Bobby had an idea. I should show you my favorite spot in the park. Be careful. Yes, Miss Kirby. This is lovely. Then Miss Kirby had an idea. What's her idea? She's not so much a monster anymore, right? Bobby tossed his paper airplane into the sky. It flew, and it flew, and it flew. I think that was the single most greatest airplane flight in history. I think you're right. By lunchtime, Bobby and Miss Kirby were happy that they had bumped into each other. And they were ready to say goodbye. See you on Monday, Bobby. Bye, Mrs. Kirby. Back at school, Mrs. Kirby still stomped, coming through. And Mrs. Kirby still roared. And then the bear said, "Rawr." Great job, Bobby. But was Mrs. Kirby still a monster? Robert! The end. And on the back it says, monsters are not always what they seem. So boys and girls, you can think of that story the next time I tell you to stop throwing paper airplanes in the library. We are going to be reading The Wild Robot. We're also going to maybe read a couple of his other chapter or picture books. But I really want to get to Wild Robot because it's kind of a long read, and I'm going to be reading it to you, and who knows how many chapters I'll get to while I'm reading it on our YouTube videos. I did want to tell you that after you watch this video, you'll watch my next video, and in that video I'll explain to you a little bit of your Flipgrid lesson for today. Okay? Have a great day, boys and girls, and I'll see you soon.